Will the DUSD ever be stable? Welcome to another DeFiChain video. My name is Kyugi, and as always, I try to provide you with data and insights so that you can make smart decisions for yourself. Today, I want to talk about a bit of an old topic, the DUSD again, because now that Meta chain is coming up and we see a lot of questions again in the community regarding will the DUSD ever be stable? Do we always need a rising DFI to have a stable DUSD? What will happen if we reach the back and then the DFI crashes again, or the whole crypto market crashes again, or what happens in a bull market, and so on? And all those things, all the measures that we have been defined over a year ago, and they are in place, and we are just waiting for all of them to be active. So actually nothing changed there since basically nearly a year. But I understand that sometimes it's hard to keep track of all the things or remember all the things, and there are people new in the whole ecosystem. So I thought, let's make a video where I summarize all the current definitions that we have, how the whole DUSD system is defined, and why I think that it will be stable on the long run once everything is active. One disclaimer, I am not talking about the actual situation or the current situation. I am talking about the design of the whole system, how it's designed since over a year ago. We made changes, not the definition as it was in the beginning. There was a lot of changes last summer when the debug happened, when the discount happened. There was a lot of changes based on the learnings and everything. And now we have a definition that should keep the DUSD at $1 on the long run, and not everything is active again. So I talk about this design, not the current debug, not the current discount. I understand it's a bit frustrating, but keep in mind what we talk here is now what will happen on the long run, so that everyone has a good understanding on that. And I will only talk about the DUSD. I will make a separate video about the D tokens and how they are stable, because they are already stable. There is no will they ever be stable. All the measures are already active, but I will talk about that in a different video, because I am afraid that this video already will be a bit long. So I will try to make it as short as possible. So let's start right in. When we talk about the price of an asset, it's always, on the long run, we always see that the price is influenced or defined by the balance between demand and supply. If the demand of something rises, the price rises. If the supply rises and the demand is not rising, the price is going down because there's an oversupply. So it's always about the balance between the demand and supply. So if we want to have the price of the DUSD on a certain level, we need to keep that demand and supply ratio in such a way that this demand and supply ratio keeps that price level or supports that price level. And that's what basically the whole design of the system is about. And to have a bit of a better understanding on what the system is about and what we are affecting and what the measures do, let's first take a look at the distribution of the supply and of the demand. So on the right side, we have the DUSD supply. And when I say supply, it's basically where DUSD are created, or what the DUSD that are currently in the circulating supply, where they are coming from. And there we have basically two main points. It's one, the loans. So DUSD can be minted from loans, and are then what we call backed DUSD from the loan collaterals and everything. And then we have the algo DUSD that are created by some form of algorithm. So there is no backing loan or anything. It's just created. It could be created via the DFI payback that we have in the system right now. The DFI payback is turned off, so this is no longer possible, but they are still in the system, those algo DUSD, and there might be some algo DUSD created in the future via negative interest or the future swap. So that's the two areas where we have DUSD created, and both of them can have a price impact or have no price impact. So price neutral. For the loans, I think most of the DUSD created via loans will have, on the long run, no real price impact. It will be price neutral because people will take the loan and put it directly into liquidity mining, or take the loan and use it for D-token positions, or put it into the future swap or stuff like that. And trading in the D-token system and everything has no price impact on the DUSD itself, because the price of the DUSD is defined by the price against the crypto world, not against the D-token world. So trading on the D-token side is not affecting the price of DUSD. But there will also be loans where the DUSD is sold against crypto, and those are the price effective loans that are created and which drive the price down, basically. And also on the Algo DUSD side, we will have Algo DUSD created from future swap financing that has no price impact because they're just in the system, and there will be Algo DUSD that have a price impact because they get sold against crypto. So that's the supply side. On the demand side, from the demand side, I'm talking about where do we use DUSD in the system? Because everywhere where you use DUSD in the system, so where the circulating supply currently is, how it's distributed, that's basically where the demand is at, because where you use it, there you need it. And there we have more than two. It's on the one hand the paid interest and fees, because since the changes, all the interests that are paid in the DUSD. You pay it directly in the asset that you take the loan of, so DUSD, D-token, whatever. But in the background, when you pay the interest, the D-tokens are swapped to DUSD, and then the DUSD is burned. So all the interests are burned as DUSD. So they take DUSD out of the system, which means there must be some DUSD that are paid or that are taken out of the system. Also, the auction fees for liquidations are swapped to DUSD and then burned. Then we have, in my opinion, what will be the biggest area in the demand and in the distribution are the liquidity mining pools. On the one hand, the gateway pools, DUSD versus the stablecoins and versus DFI, and the D-token pools, where we need a lot of liquidity in DUSD to fill those pools. So this will be the major part of the demand. Part of it price neutral because loans directly going into liquidity mining. Part of it price effective because people buy DUSD and put it into the liquidity mining. Then we have the area of collateral, where DUSD is used as collateral in vaults for D-token loans, D-token shorts and everything. Why not DUSD loans? Because it doesn't make sense economically on the long run if we are in a stable system, not in a current system. In a stable system where DUSD is at 1, it doesn't make sense to put DUSD into the collateral to then take a D-token loan or whatever, or to then take DUSD loans. Also, it doesn't make sense to take a DUSD loan and then put it into collateral, because you get more loan value if you directly take the D-token loan, for example, and putting DUSD in and then taking less DUSD as a loan doesn't make sense, except for the DUSD staking case. But in the stable case, in the stable long run, DUSD at 1, tax fee at 0, you don't have that case. So on the long run, this is 100% price effective because it's all bought DUSD, no DUSD from loans, and it's for D-token shorts. And then we will have parts of it where we have cash positions, so people buying DUSD to have a stablecoin position in their portfolio, but not putting it into liquidity mining vaults, liquidity mining pools for whatever reason, and the trading part where people either buy DUSD to trade on the DEX or in the crypto pools or in the D-token pools, or take DUSD loans for trading, for example, for leverage trading and everything in the crypto world. So I don't know how the distribution will be, but I guess from my point of view, liquidity mining pools will be the biggest one, and then the others will be a bit distributed. So we have the distribution, we have the supply and demand. Now the question is, how do we make sure that the supply and demand balances out? And one thing that's quite obvious, or that it's a clear point in my opinion, is that it's hard to steer or affect the demand. We see that in the current situation, you can increase rewards, reduce rewards, but this is not affecting the demand strongly. It has an effect, but not in a strong way. So it's also, we have a lot of people coming in and wanting in. You don't want to reduce the demand. You don't want to drive them away, basically, just because the supply is not keeping up. And on the other hand, if everybody is getting out of the pools, if everybody wants to sell their tokens because they need liquidity for whatever reason, it's hard to ramp up the demand. So I think the most effective way of getting the balance right is affecting the supply. And that's what we can do on the loan side. On the loan side, there is a lot of possibilities to affect the supply of the DUSD. Now let's talk about the measures that we have, how is it defined and everything. As a side note, I will link all the DFIPs where those measures got defined in the description. There are many of them, or some of them, so it's not one DFIP where everything was defined, but there's a bit more, but you will see it in the description. So the first measure, or the first mechanic that we have, is a simple one. It's already active and it has no price effect, but it helps to reduce the volatility. That's the stablecoin pools. If we have big stablecoin pools regarding liquidity, and I think they should be on long run above or along the biggest liquidity pools on our DEX in total, they keep a strong anchor of the DUSD to the stablecoins. So they reduce volatility, so you can trade a lot of DUSD without moving the price too much, and that's exactly what we want. And we see that already. There's a stablecoin pools right now. They are pretty smooth in their movement, while the root via DFI is volatile. So they do what they should. It's just that they need to get bigger and bigger and bigger as soon as we have the peg and are stable there. So that's one thing of what we have. And the other thing, which is also already active, is the DEX fee with the payout. And one thing that's important to note that many people are misunderstanding right now is the DEX fee is not a measure that affects the price. It has a small effect on the price by reducing sell pressure, because people don't like to sell if they have a fee. But the main goal of the DEX fee is to reduce the algo ratio. And that's also why the DEX fee is not linked to the price. It's not that the DEX fee goes down when the price hits a certain level. It's just right now with the increased fixed DEX fee. But the DEX fee as it is defined is just based on the algo ratio, and the higher the algo ratio, the higher the DEX fee, to get the algo DUSD out of the system, because the DEX fee burns algo DUSD, therefore reduces burns DUSD and therefore reduces the algo DUSD amount, therefore reduces the algo ratio. And with the payout, because you pay the fee, half of the fee is burned directly, half of the fee is paid to DUSD loan holders as an incentive. So it increases the loans and decreases the DUSD overall. So the algo ratio is reduced from both sides, basically. So that's the main incentive or main reason of the DEX fee. And a bit to the numbers, because there was some changes one year ago regarding the DEX fee. And if we look at it, do we see it here? Yes. If you look at it, it's an exponential growth, which starts at 30%. So at 30%, we have 0%. We would have 0% fee. And then it starts slowly. At 50%, we're still at 0.75% fee. So there would be nearly no real fee that you feel, because you have 0.2% commission and then a bit on top from the fee if we are in that ratio or in that area. But if you have a lot of trading, a lot of volume, this burns DUSD out of the system continuously. If we get above the 30%, below the 30%, we are at 0%, because that's, in my opinion, a healthy ratio. And then it grows, and the higher it grows exponentially. And on a theoretical 100% algo ratio, we would have 31.75 fee. So that's the defined DEX fee that would have this effect on the long run. to get algos out of the system if the algo ratio is too high. And why do we need that? And that's for the last measure to be effective. And the thing is, that's the only measure that has really a price impact. It's the dynamic interest. And the thing is, or the problem is, that's not active yet, because we can only activate that if the algo ratio is low enough. Why is that so? The dynamic interest directly affects the price by affecting directly the overall supply via the loans. So it means if the price is in a discount, the interest rates on the USD loans rise, and they rise exponentially with the discount. So they go strongly up if you have a strong discount, which makes the DUSD loan holders pay back the loans. There are now parts of the DUSD loans that are price neutral, and there are parts that sold that USD, and that part needs to buy that DUSD back to close the loan. Buying the DUSD back means it increases the price. Also, if the price neutral loans get closed, it gets taken out of the pools. If the demand, if the rewards are still high here, or they increase then, so they increase the demand of new DUSD coming in that might get bought, because as long as the dynamic interest rates are high, no one is taking loans, because loans you pay the interest or pay high interest, so people would buy it to get into the pools to get the rewards, so the price goes up. So that's how the dynamic interest would react in a discount case. In a premium case, the dynamic interest will produce negative interest, so real negative interest, not the DEX fee payout that we see right now, but the real negative interest means there are new DUSD created for this loan to pay the holder of the loan for opening the loan. So you get paid for opening a loan, and since the DUSD is in a premium, you create the loan, you mint the DUSD, you sell it on the market for a profit in the premium. Therefore, price goes down because supply goes up. So that's how dynamic interest does that. Also, looking a bit on the numbers, we have on the discount case, on a 2% discount, we would have already have 6.5% interest. So an increase, but also it's again rising exponentially. So on a 30% discount, we would already have 500% interest, which means everybody would close their loans, and all the DUSD from the market would get bought back to get into the supply, or get to close the loans. Also means that the gateway pools would reduce dramatically in liquidity, which makes it far easier to get the price up with a bit of demand from the DUSD from buying back the loans and everything. So this is a strong measure to get the price back up. And in the discount and premium case, we see the numbers are not that crazy high, because here we need to be careful to not create algo DUSD, or not too much algo DUSD. On a 2% premium, we would have nearly a 2% negative interest. On a 30% premium, we would have a 57% interest, negative interest. But you have to keep in mind that's over a year. So it's an APR. So if we had a 30% premium for 1 year, all the DUSD loans would get 50% on top algo DUSD. And that shows the limits basically of the algo DUSD creation. Because the problem with the algo DUSD from the DeFi payback was that there was no limit to the creation. You could take unlimited DUSD loans, pay back via DFI, take loan, pay back via DFI, which kept the premium instantly because it was an infinite arbitrage loop creating DUSD en masse just to get the premium down, but you can't get them out without the loans because there was no loan whatsoever once you paid the DFI, use the DFI payback. Now with the negative interest, or with the dynamic interest, we have the case that you would create 100 million DUSD loans in the premium. People sell those DUSD to get the premium down. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe 300 million demand is there, so people need to create more and more loans. Even if it's for a long time, even if we have 200 million DUSD loans, new open in total, and that for a year, crazy numbers, and the 50%, yes, we would get on top 100 million DUSD loans, but we still have the 200 million. We get not on top the million, but we pay them the 50%. So their interest or their loan reduces to 100 million, but we still have 100 million open. So we would get to an algo ratio of 50%, not some crazy numbers of 90% algo ratio, but only over 1 year of 30% premium, which is highly unlikely or unrealistic. But it would limit it to the total value of loans. So there will always be loans available to use that for the dynamic interest. So that's something that's important here to understand, that the creation of algo DUSD is far different than we had it with the payback. And it's just an incentive for people to create loans to create supply. So that's what will drive the price. The dynamic interests affecting the supply via the loans, getting them up or down. And that also shows why it's so important to have the algo ratio low, because as long as the algo ratio is low, we have a lot of loans where the dynamic interest can work with. If the algo ratio is high, it's hard to do that because they have not many loans to work with, especially if there are not many sold loans, what we have right now with the sold DUSD. So after that, let's take a bit of a different view on the topic, how all those measures work together. Maybe if it's not clear yet, maybe this clears it up a bit more, because I always say it's a two-dimensional optimization problem or challenge. So we have on the x-axis we have the price peg in the middle, so DUSD at 1. On the left side we have a high discount, on the right side we have a high premium. In the y-axis, we have the algo ratio, 0% on the bottom, 100% on the top. So what we want is this green spot. It's our sweet spot at the peg line and with a lower algo ratio. As I usually say, I expect that we will see a base supply of needed algos, because we have such a high demand via the liquidity mining pools and everything, that I expect to see a base level of algo ratio all the time. I expect it to be low. Likely it will be somewhere between 10 and 20% to be healthy, I think. But we will see. I don't know, but I expect it, say it this way. And I think in that area we are super safe to have something between on the low range here. And now the question is, how do all those measures work to keep us or bring us into this area? And let's show them a bit of graphics. Easiest to understand, interest rates and option fees just burn DUSD. So we have a constant push down of the algo ratio regarding, to get the algos out of the system. Algo ratio goes down by burning interest and auctions fees, because they are burned in DUSD. Then we have the DEX fee, which is already active, which has a strong effect down, and the slight effect to the right. As I said, a fee on the selling always reduces a bit the sell pressure, so it's a bit supporting the price, but the main effect is down of the algo ratio to by burning and incentivizing loans. And the main effect on the interest or on the price is by the interest rates. In the discount case, we have the high interest rates because they increase strongly, and this on the one hand pushes the price toward the peg, but it also pushes the algo ratio up, because reducing the loans, high interest rates makes people close the loans. Reducing the loans means algos stay in the system, loans get smaller, algo ratio goes up. On the premium side, interest rates work the other way. On the one hand, toward the peg, but also it increases the loan number, so it reduces the algo ratio. So down and to the left, which means the whole area here, this whole red area here, is basically not a real problem as long as the interest rates are good and working or strong enough. We will need to see that if we get enough interest from the people to create loans and open loans. But basically, if they do what we expect them to do, no matter where you are on this area, as soon as negative interest, the dynamic interest rates kick in, it pushes the price and our situation down toward the peg, and here the interest rates are at 0 again, we are at the peg, we are stable. And then even if we are somewhere up here, the DEX fee and the interest burn slowly pushes us down toward the sweet spot. So no problem, we always get close to the peg and down. The problem is if we are in this area where we are right now, because then a high interest rate, if you have a high interest rate, when we are here, we have a high interest rate, it might shoot us up here, and then we are at 100% algo ratio, still not at a peg, no one is creating loans, and we have a problem because there's no demand in the system coming in or anything. That's why then we need to wait for the DEX fee to go down, but with the DEX fee going down, with no one opening loans because of the high interest, we would stay there and it would just reduce the supply, which pushes us closer to the peg, but it's just a painful way up here, which is not really what we want. That's why currently we need to wait to get the algo ratio down to a good level, and then the high interest rates could immediately shoot the price up to the peg as soon as it's activated. And once the whole system is working and we are once in this area, because as I said, we are no longer creating any algo DUSD in an unlimited way, always connected to loans, we will never really shoot above these algo ratios here. Because even if we have high negative interest rates or anything, it's not going to end. As soon as we come out of this area, the DEX fee comes in, burns it, the interest rates burns it. So we will stay low. And if the peg is moving, if we have volatility here, we go in the direction of the high from the discount. Interest rates kick in, push us up, DEX fee kicks in a bit, interest rate burns it, and we come down. If we go into a premium, we come here, interest rates push us back toward the back, increases loans, and we are working in here. So we will be always moving around this peg line, basically. The question will be how big this volatility will be. There the stablecoin pools have a smoothing effect to reduce the volatility. So no strong effects from short-term action from the buying or selling pressure. And maybe we need to adapt some numbers regarding the interest rates or anything to stay closer to the line. But we will see. I think the measures are there, the definitions are there, the numbers might need to be adjusted and optimized, but the overall idea works as it is defined right now. And to have a bit of a better view on how it's really working, let's look at example. What would happen if we are in a healthy state? Overall system, not only DUSD, all D token system have a 20% algo ratio. So not only DUSD 20%, but all D tokens. Let's say it's distributed, 50% of the algos is DUSD, 50% is D tokens, 80% of all the tokens are backed by loans. Now, what would be a problem for this system, for the stability of the DUSD in the system? There is no, in my opinion, there is no problem if the crypto market crashes because of the dynamic interest and everything, and with the high liquidity stablecoin pools. If the DFI route goes down, it just affects the DFI price, but the DUSD price is arbitraged via the stablecoin pools. Stablecoin pools are the highest liquidity pools, so they keep the price at the smooth level. And if we go in a discount because of that, interest rates kick in, loans get closed, and we stay safe and stable there. So that wouldn't be a topic. A topic that is a danger for the system, or would could be a problem, is if demand is going down. Because as I said, price is demand and supply. And right now we have the problem that demand is low on DUSD and the D token system, but due to the algo DUSD that we don't get out, the supply is still high. If we could get the algo DUSD out as instantly, the problem would be gone. So what would be a problem? It would be a crash in demand. So let's assume we see a drop in demand of 80%. So 80% less demand. Only 20% of the amount of tokens, D tokens and DUSD, everything in the whole D token system is left. First, what we notice is that something like that usually happens with a stock drop. So if stocks drop, prices drop, everything needs to take out liquidity. So I assume that this happens in combination with a strong stocks crash. Everybody wants to go out of stocks, go out of there, take the liquidity out, and pulls that out. So the distribution of the D tokens of the algos would change because DUSD stays on the level, but the value of the D tokens drop. So the ratio goes to 60-40, which also reduces the overall value of those tokens. So the 20% that's left are distributed into 80% algo tokens and 20% back tokens. So we have then an algo ratio of 80%, but we still have back tokens left. And that means as long as we have loans left, the dynamic interest rates can still work and be used or keep the DUSD stable. So we are still at a stable DUSD, even with an 80% drop in demand due to a stocks crash. And what would be the effect of that? On one hand, 80% drop in the whole demand and also on the supply side means the liquidity pools are nearly empty because, 80% drop. So the rewards in the liquidity in the stablecoin pools and everywhere are still there. So that still is a strong incentive to go in there, but they got empty. So the rewards increase a lot, which increases demand. Also, it would have a DEX fee, but it would be below 10%. With 80% algo ratio, it's I think 7% or something, which starts to reduce the algo DUSD. So we would survive that. We would still have tokens, loans to work with to keep the DUSD stable. And the measures would kick in to get the DUSD, the algo DUSD, the overall, the not needed supply out of the system. And another thing that you have to keep in mind regarding such a scenario is it wouldn't happen overnight. There is no stock crash of 30% overnight. It would likely be over a few weeks that it drops and drops and drops and drops. So we go from 20% algo ratio to 30% to 40%. Fee kicks in, a few percent people trade, and it already starts burning tokens. So the algo ratio wouldn't be at 80% in the end, but it would already be reduced by the DEX fee coming down. Also, the pools get reduced due to the reduced liquidity and everything. So the APRs go up and support the demand and everything. So this will be far smoother on the real one than on a theoretical overnight drop of 80%. But that's, we would survive, in my opinion, even an 80% demand crash. And that's with a 20% algo ratio. In my opinion, if we have over a few years running system that runs good and have the interest rates and everything, and DUSD is stable, we wouldn't likely be at 20%, we will likely be at 10% or something really low, because we burn 5% of all the D tokens every year, all the back tokens every year, just from the interest rates. And we also have the future swap that burns with 5% fee and everything. So if we think about it and say, okay, there is no 20% in the beginning, so 10%, after the drop, we would have half of that, so 40% algo ratio. And there we are in a super safe area and far below 1% in the DEX fee and everything. So no problem at all. And the 80% drop wouldn't hurt us anything. So that's why I think and believe that the DUSD, as it is designed right now, is stable on the long run. Yes, right now we have a discount. Right now there's a strong leadback, and this needs to be solved. But as soon as we have this back at the back and can activate the dynamic interest rates, then everything is in place, everything is activated, that we have a long-term stable solution. So I hope this cleared it up a bit. I will do, as I said, a second video about the D token system. So the future swaps, how the D tokens are working, and if it burns DUSD or creates algos or not. Do that in a second video, because this is already long enough. So if you have any questions, leave a like, leave a comment. Yeah, tell me what you think. If you believe in the DUSD, I expect some comments about this is all going to zero, this is all dead, why are you still talking about it? Well, I just told you, I think it's stable and will be stable on the long run. It's just a bit frustrating that the solution of the DPEG takes longer than expected. Not gonna lie, that's frustrating. I get that, but I think with the launch of the Meta chain and the DUSD staking, this will be solved soon. So with that, I see you in the next video.